Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I'm Braden. This is Tim. Second Legacy is the place, and thank you for stopping by. This is the channel where we talk about the goings-on of the 2A day. We bring it in, we analyze it, we compare it a little bit, reassemble it for direct consumption with a delicious veneer of humor in sarcasm. Today, Tim, we've got to talk about Greg Abbott supporting the guy against Brandon Herrera. I have so many questions. This is like the never-ending pit.
Yeah.
But that's what we're going to get into today. So, guys, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And, Tim, with that, we did a video filming of Speaker Johnson coming down and going after Brandon indirectly, right?
Yeah.
Going for his opponent, Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Well, now Greg Abbott's doing it.
What? Does Gonzalez have, like, naked pictures of these guys or something? I mean, what are they doing?
I don't know, man. Something is.
They're hitching their wagon.
Something is absolutely up.
Yeah.
Something is absolutely up. And so here's what I think. I think that there is some very serious polling concerns for Tony Gonzalez, and they're unleashing all the guns. That's what I think is happening, because the primary is coming in May in like 3 weeks. So if you are Tony Gonzalez and you're an incumbent and you're sitting in office and you're just chilling, hoping you can ride the Rhino Express all the way to Gravyville, you're going to really want to hold on to that seat. And if you see polling that says, hey, you actually have a chance of losing this or a great chance of losing this, the establishment's got to come save your butt because you're an establishment rhino. That's what I think's happening.
And since our last video where we talked about this, we did come into some polling data. And the polling data is showing that Gonzalez is underwater. He's currently losing to our man, Brandon Herrera. So I think that's why we're seeing this, right? You're seeing the neocons come out in support of the neocon. And, we had Johnson out there saying, I don't want to see infighting and, political challenges and blah, 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 blah. Don't do this. And then he immediately, about faces and goes out there and does exactly that in Texas. Right. And that is it. I don't think we can stress enough how out of the ordinary this is. You don't get the speaker traveling to primary races in states. No. I mean, if he were to do that, his entire time would be going from district to district and from state to state. So it is extremely rare to see something like this. And so something is afoot, and that something is Gonzalez, I think, is in hot water here, and the rhinos are pulling out all the stops.
That's what I think is happening as well. So think about this from a political standpoint from another angle, though. Like, if you think about this from Greg Abbott's perspective, he's got to now jump in and support a guy who just called his Republican colleagues scumbags, neo-Nazis, and KKK members on CNN.
Yeah.
So, like, why would you hitch your wagon to that? Why would you tie your neck to that anchor stone and just drop it off the cliff?
I mean, these are the same people that feigned concern over Hillary Clinton calling everybody that supported Trump an undesirable.
Basket of deplorables.
Deplorables, yes. And so you have deplorables. Now Gonzalez out there calling other Republican scumbags, but they're not out. They're not up in arms about that little stunt. No, they're backing him.
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's so odd how this always happens. In fact, listen to what Abbott said about Gonzalez. I think this is interesting because this is number 13. Abbott came to Gonzalez's defense Wednesday, arguing that he is the best choice to continue representing Texas in Congress, though he did not directly address the scumbags blowback that Gonzalez said on CNN. Quote, Tony Gonzalez is a fierce champion for bolstering border security measures in Congress. I urge all Texans across Congressional District 23 to join me in supporting Tony Gonzalez for re-election in the upcoming May primary runoff election, Abbott wrote in a statement. Can you provide proof of that, sir?
Yeah. This neocon is not strong on the border. He votes against firearms.
No.
All the things that all these clowns claim that they support, he doesn't.
Yep.
And so the fact that Gonzalez is a gun-grabbing idiot that voted for, the Safer Communities Act, by hitching their wagon to him, that puts Johnson and Abbott in the same category as him. Birds of a feather and all of that, right? So when politicians back each other, they're backing each other's policies. So they're saying they're anti-gun too?
I mean, it's such a game, right? So here's an example of the game that we're talking about. So if we go and look at Tony Gonzalez and we look at his Heritage Foundation report, there's a voting record, right? And he didn't vote, Tim, for the assault weapons ban, H.R. 1808 of Nancy Pelosi back in 2022. So therefore, he's pro-gun because he didn't take them all the way away. But then he kind of voted for the Safer Communities Act, which enabled the ATF through usurpations of power of Congress to do all these different changes, like red flag law, bribery, like 18, 19, 20-year-olds can't get guns.
Frames and receivers rule. Yeah.
Frames and receivers rule, redefining who's a dealer.
Thanks, Tony.
I mean, literally all of those things are from what he voted for. But hey, he is a staunch supporter of the Second. He didn't take our guns away. He just gave a blank check to the bureaucracy to do it later.
Right.
I mean, legitimately, that's the way it boils down.
Yeah. Yep, he's a dirtbag. I just can't stand the guy. And when you listen to, all you have to do is follow him on Twitter, folks, and look at the disgusting tactics he's using. The same thing that conservatives generally chide Democrats for doing, he's literally doing himself.
100%.
He is out there acting like a man-child, making outlandish claims against Brandon because they have nothing against him. Because Brandon represents...
He's from North Carolina.
Oh, yeah, he's a carpetbagger. Do you know the history of Texas?
Wow, I mean, like carpetbagging, that's weird. That's almost like a Civil War reference.
Well, of course.
Oh,
that's my era, man.
And then he said KKK, and then wait a minute, I'm seeing the connections.
Yeah, this guy's a peach, folks. And man, I just can't believe Abbott jumped on this train. I was blown away by Johnson, right? But
I was surprised by
wagons,
Johnson,
man.
Yeah. That's exactly what they're doing. They are circling the wagons hardcore. I was much more surprised by Johnson than I was by Abbott. Abbott was kind of like, really, you two?
Yeah.
That was kind of dumb.
Right.
But Johnson was extremely out of the norm. Like you said, exceptionally well. It's hard to express how rare that is. And that is very, very interesting when you look at all the players on the table. Because if you look at Brandon, look at number 14. This is the final wrap-up. Gonzalez faces a primary runoff election against gun rights advocate and social media influencer Brandon Herrera after neither candidate gained a majority of votes in a March primary election. Now, there is a different element here of Matt Gaetz and Bob Good kind of getting involved in this little tit-for-tat. Like Johnson has Tony Gonzalez's back, so does Abbott. Bob Good and Matt Gaetz have Brandon's back. So there's kind of like an element of like lines being drawn. Mm-hmm. But I was very surprised by Speaker Johnson, especially since Brandon is literally 2A all day and Tony Gonzalez is a blank check.
You know what I think will be funny? When Brandon wins this race and he meets Johnson for the first time, I hope he has a camera on his cell phone rolling, because that's going to be comedic gold, whatever Brandon says to him, because you know it's going to be funny. Like, woof, isn't this awkward? Nice to meet you.
Yes, because Brandon would do something.
Oh, you know he would, dude. The guy is.
He would.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Brandon is one of the best. I can actually tell you what I think I'm going to put a strong wager on what he would do. Johnson, he wins. Johnson says, "Oh, Brandon, I've heard of you." And then his go-to line, whenever I've seen a fan walk up to Brandon when we've been together, he's always going, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Every single time. Yeah. I am so sorry for whatever you heard, but great to meet you.
It'll be funny. I seriously hope they have a camera rolling when they meet for the first time, because it's going to be comedic gold.
So good.
Well, I think you guys know who we back in this race, and it's definitely Brandon Herrera. If you live in Texas District 23, folks, please do your research. Don't listen to the propaganda coming from Abbott and places like that and Johnson. Do your own research and look into the candidates, their voting records, and try to look past all the lies being told by Tony. But do follow him on X or Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, because that will give you true insight into the lack of character this man has. Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.